Hi, I'm John Hart and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. Today, I'm talking to you about the man, the myth, the legend, Ric Drasin. Now, Ric, you know that I love Ric Drasin, right? My guy, Ric, has passed on to a greater realm. I believe I'll see him in heaven someday. Ric has passed in the last few days. He is gone, and so not on this planet anymore. Ric is an icon in bodybuilding as well as professional wrestling. At this point in time, I'm going to try and do all this in just one take. I know he would be pissed if I couldn't get this just done in one take. So if I stammer a little bit and ah more than usual, then please forgive me. But it's kind of caught me a little bit off guard. Although, I'll give you a little background on what this last year looked like for Ric. I was a guest on his show quite regularly. I did about one show every 2 to 3 weeks, and we did that for the last couple of years. So you'll find quite a bunch of shows that I'm a guest with him on his show, Ric's Corner. You can go on YouTube and search his name, Ric Drasin. I'll put his name over here in the corner for you. And you can also, or the link, I'll put it down in the video description of this video. As well, Ric's Corner had a lot of great guests over the years. So, as an honor to Ric, why don't you go ahead and check out his channel and watch, I don't know, 100 or 200 videos tonight. How's that sound? Binge watch it for the next week. He'd really enjoy that one. But Ric, over the last year, progressively, the man, he did have some situations going on. He was suffering quite a bit with some problems in his legs, and I know that you guys have probably heard it on his show. Those of you who are also subscribers to his channel probably heard him talking about his legs, his knee. Specifically, he had a couple of knee replacements. Being a former pro wrestler and bodybuilder, he had his share of injuries. Just to run down the list, double knee replacement, he had both shoulders destroyed, rotator cuffs destroyed, his elbow wouldn't straighten out completely, tore his tricep, his back was in pain, constantly straight down one side of it, down his leg. His health overall, you know, he had a few things going on internally as well, but that's for his family to go over if they want to. But nevertheless, fun times I want to share with you. Ric, by the way, anything I just mentioned, he said it many times on his channel, so those parts, no problem at all. He said it many times. I didn't disclose anything that wasn't already out there. And you heard him say it many times, even when I was on his show. So, Ric, even in his last few posts, you all know that he was putting him up there saying, I'll be back in a few weeks better than ever. That was Ric. Ric believed that he was going to be better than ever. At 76 years, he was still going to the gym every day. At 76 years, he was still training somehow or some way every day. He was excited about lifting weights. He was excited about working out. He was excited about his eating, his diet. You know, this never left him. From bodybuilding way back in the day through the 70s, the golden era, all the way until now. It never left him. He loved doing it, talking about it, sharing it with others, helping people to get in great shape. That was Ric. Wrestling-wise, he was the Equalizer, baby. That was his name. And he was a great character in wrestling. And over the years, he's had quite a few relationships with people in the wrestling industry. I'm sure you'll be hearing from them in the near future as well. This is sort of my tribute to him right here on my channel, but it's also letting you in on some of the things that he had gone through in the last year. And, you know, should you find yourself in those situations down the line, maybe, you know, there's some things we can learn from this. So, here we go. The man, when I would go to do his show, okay, up until this last year, he was in pretty good shape. you know, I was excited to do a show each time I did it, because that personality of his, you saw exactly the way Ric really was. In person, quick wit, great personality, fun, joking the whole time. You know, if he looked like he wasn't joking around on camera, it's because he felt terrible. You know, basically, he wasn't feeling good. And he still did his show because he loved doing his show. It wasn't about the money. He just loved doing his show. So he was an entertainer, and he loved having guests on his show. And it was fun going over there, and, you know, material-wise, subject-wise. When I would go to do one of his shows, we were going there, every 2 or 3 Wednesdays. I would meet up at his house in his studio. And on the way there, the text messages would start flowing from, "I hope you have some good subject matter, John," to, "Can you take the trash out for me? And can you feed the turtle? And can you, the turtles? And can you change the water in the turtle tank?" All of that stuff. You know, I used to joke around with him, "Man, I'm starting to feel a little bit more like the maid, man." But really, seriously, it got to the point where, you know, he trusted me. And, you know, I had no problem doing these things for him. I know that he was hurting in the last year. He was having a little bit of trouble walking with that swelling in his legs, and the one knee was infected, as he shared with you guys. But what ended up happening along the way is I noticed that his legs, as he would get out of that car prior to the show, I'd meet him outside by the curb after I took the trash out. When he would come pulling on up, it would take him longer and longer to walk in to the house and into the studio. And, you know, I could clearly see that he was suffering a little bit from, you know, some congenital heart failure, the fluid building up from heart failure in his water backing up in his body from his kidneys not being able to process it properly. His legs were swelling up. They were like that pretty constant. And then in the last few months, I noticed that his arms, his forearms, were getting swollen. And so, you know, that was the part that was a little bit concerning. I was urging him, you know, to get to his physician, or at least change his physician if the one that he had was not giving the right answers to whatever was going on. And, well, Ric did what he did. So eventually he did go in. But the coolest part about him is once we got in that house, and once I set up the camera for him, and, you know, he sat down in that chair, and once I stepped on his foot, which I did every single show, you know, we sat so close together on that little table, and I'd come walking on up to sit down, and I'd step on that foot of his every single time. So it became kind of a running joke between us, and in all the outtakes, you know what, he never really put many of the outtakes up. I did on my channel, so you could probably find them down on one of the playlists on my channel. But I'd step on that toe of his as we'd sit down, and, you know, he'd jump up in pain. But we'd sit down, and once he'd start in, after we discussed a little bit about the subject matter we would talk about that day and agree upon what we were going to talk about, once we sat down, once he started the show, it was lights, camera, action, one take, knocked it out, no big deal, and he'd fly right through it. I mean, he was a great entertainer through and through, okay? Comfortable in front of a camera, a great example to me. He was a great example along the way, inspired me to do my own YouTube channel, and helped me along the way in doing certain things that have helped to make this channel better than I thought it would be at this point. So, very important. I want to say thank you, Ric, first of all, for that. And as I'd be in his house afterwards, we'd shoot that video. It would take maybe 20 minutes to do each one. You could see the length of the show is how long it would take us to film it, because we'd always do it in one take. Every one of the shows we did was in one take. So I was calling him One Take Ric, because I shoot videos in multiple times. I hate what I'm doing half the time, so I have to go ahead and trash the video and start all over again. Although most YouTubers will tell you, don't trash those things, because there's a lot of funny stuff in there. I agree. I agree. So a bad habit of mine is that I have a lot of outtake footage that ends up getting trashed. And probably I'll save a bunch of it later on and make one video of it so you guys can see some of that. But back to Ric. The man had story after story after story. He was a historian, of the golden era. And he loved to talk about the way that they trained, the way that they ate, the diet that they ate. And you all know they trained 6 days a week. They dieted high protein, moderate fat, low to no carb during the week with one cheat day along the way each week because they'd be so spent from training so much they'd need those carbs that one day each week. So I always listened to him, I always shared with you guys on my channel that that type of eating, that type of training, they found it very successful at that point in time in bodybuilding, and it applied to most clients of those bodybuilders once they became trainers. They train them and have them diet in the same manner, and it worked on a lot of them. So that way of doing things does work very, very well. I always believe myself, you have to be mindful of, the injuries, of course. That's where, Rick and myself, we kind of came from two different trains of thought, but we would never get in big-time arguments, on the set when we would shoot a show, as you know. If anything, I was agreeing with him quite a bit out of total respect. I really respected the man. That's the other thing. The thing about Rick is he just commanded your respect. He was so cool. This is one of the greatest things I could tell you is I say he's super cool because what you see is what you get with him. He was one of the greatest, coolest individuals you could meet. He never made fun of anybody in a malicious way. If anything, it was, great humor. He had great humor. And so, I know sometimes got a little bit raunchy on some of the shows that we did, but, that was Rick too. So it was his show, and the way we rolled is the way we rolled. And as a guest on his show, I'd roll with it. I do the best that I could to keep it clean on my end. And, that's just the way we rolled. So the funnest part about doing Rick's show, man, afterwards, I'd hang out at his house for hours. I'd go out, I'd get his mail for him and bring it on in and sort his mail while he'd be editing the video that we just shot. So most times that video that you would see of me with him or any of the guests with him, it was shot that day. He was very good at editing, and he would have that entire thing edited up and running and on his YouTube channel within an hour and a half, 2 hours. And he was just an artist like that. He knew what he wanted. He knew how he wanted things to look, and he set it up that way, and he just boom, 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 fly right through it. As I say, he's an artist. Rick, of course, created the drawing of the Gold's Gym guy, the logo for the original Gold's Gym. The muscle guy, the bald muscle guy holding the barbell. He also, and I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but he also, right up until he passed, he was making original drawings of that and signing it for anybody who was willing to request one from him. He was doing very well between YouTube and his other businesses. He also had a clothing line that he put out. I don't know the status of it right now, but it was in Dover Street in New York, in a couple of stores in New York, and in somewhere in Asia. I believe it was in Korea, South Korea. I'm not sure, but you can look that up if you wish. And so he had a great outlook on the immediate future. He had really one project after another he was working on. The man never stopped working. Okay. Got to tell you, never stopped working. And all you guys asking questions, man, afterwards, he'd show me the questions on his channel as I'd sit in his office, and we'd go over them, and he'd answer a few of them. But boy, most times he just would say, I just really wish I could help this guy out. I wish I could help this girl out. And he'd do his best to give answers that would bring help to anybody who needed it. So that's something I can tell you, that Rick, right from his heart, he was a giver, and he loved to help people, and loved to help people through his channel. You could tell he had a special place in my heart, not just, with my respect for him, but, he'd go out of his way to make sure that I was okay at all times. If I needed anything at any time, it didn't matter what it was, he'd go out of his way for me as well. And that I really, really appreciated. So, and I saw him that way with everybody else as well. He was just a giver. And so Rick, back in the day being a bodybuilder, training with Arnold and the boys at Gold's Gym, even though he was a valley boy, he used to drive down from the valley to train with them. He came from the beach and then moved up to the valley, but he still was driving down to Venice quite a bit. Rick was, when he was living at the beach and training with the boys at Venice during the golden era, he was hanging and banging with the best of them, lifting the weight, doing what he did, barbells, dumbbells, bodybuilding style, 6 days a week. Those black and white pictures, yes, that was him all the way. And you see he was in the Mae West show as well with a lot of the old school bodybuilders in Mae West, her program. So he really got around in the entertainment industry as a bodybuilder and somebody who looked good. I mean, he had fabulous good looks. And, even into older age, in my opinion, he looked better bald. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, yeah. He had a really nice shaped head. So he looked good with hair, he looked good without hair. And he was out there, making the money with that face and those good looks when he was younger as well as when he was older. He still had, parts in commercial and TV and movies as he was going, all the way up into the 70s. So, continuing to do the business as he did right up until the end. And so I'm just letting you know that when you guys saw him, I know some of you did question in the comments section of his videos. You were very concerned, and that was really, really cool. You did see that he was slowing down a little bit and having a little bit of a challenge sometimes. He looked a little bit tired sometimes, and that was just him going through some real challenges. He had some health challenges with that heart failure going on and the fluid backing up. So, it slowed him down a little bit near the end, the last year, shooting videos with him. And, but boy, when he needed to, shoot out those jokes, he was pretty quick to pull them out. But you guys have been great. The concern you showed for him, the love you showed for him, the loyalty that you showed for him and his channel, I'm amazed with. Every time I look at the comments section, a bunch of you have been truly, truly supportive of him and everything that he's done, and I know he appreciated it. I know that he loved doing what he was doing, and you made it worthwhile for him. When you guys would write something in comments saying how you helped him out, how he helped you out, or how you took some of his advice from some of his videos and how it really, really shaped, your life or your training, or how you made, a lot of success in your diet, whatever it was, he saw that, and it definitely made it worthwhile for him to do. So I'm only sharing with you things that I know from the time that I spent with him. Each time I shot a show with him, I'd be at his house for at least a couple of hours hanging out with him. So, it wasn't just a bump and run where I'd show up, shoot a show, and split. So I usually blocked out about 4 hours because I knew I'd be there, and I knew that we would end up talking for a long time as he'd be knocking out the editing on the video. So he'd be talking to me while he's editing his videos the whole time. Or I'd be changing the water in his turtle tank, his 2 turtles that he had right next to his computer in his office, his desk set up. So I'd be doing that while he's talking to me about, life in general. So, where you guys are concerned, he loved every one of you. And he loved working with you guys. And so, Rick, yeah. A really good buddy of mine said to me that I would be feeling it, later on. And while I know I'll miss him, while I'm still here on this planet, if anything, I'm going to take it like this. And I did tell my good friend Steve, when he brought this up to me, I told him that if anything, this situation with Rick, where he's passed And I had not seen him in the last 6 months, because of COVID. We were all on lockdown. These last 6 months, I've not shot one show with him in the last 6 months. So that was the last time I shot with him, and I was at his house. So I've not seen him. We've only communicated via text in the last 6 months. And, because of that, that's making me sad to know that I won't be seeing him again. It's been too long as it was. However, like I said to my buddy Steve, look, if anything, the situation with Rick always points out to me right now how little time we actually have in the big scheme of things on this planet. And because of that, I pointed out to my buddy Steve that I've just not been as good a friend to him as I could be, and I'm going to work on that. So for me, appreciating those who appreciate me, loving those who love me, and giving to those who have given to me over and above, to me that's, and giving time to those who have given me their time, that type of thing, and appreciating them while we're all still here. I've done that with a lot of people, and then there's some I have not done it with, and I intend on changing that right now. So that, if anything, that's how Rick's passing has affected me. That's the immediate thing. It's only been about a day and a half since he passed. So I didn't really feel like shooting this video, but I know he'd be annoyed with me if I didn't, to be honest with you. So hopefully he's smiling on down right now upon us as we're doing this. So to reiterate, I'd like to give you a few of, Rick's bodybuilding and health and fitness tips along the way that I've picked up from him, and I'm going to just fire them off really quick right here. To reiterate, Rick believed in a high-protein, clean diet 6 days out of the week, where he'd be eating high protein, moderate fats, and low carbohydrates. This he carried on even as he got older. Protein, the focus was on protein. And that was diet, lots of fluids, that was his diet. And that was the kind that he had people do. Training-wise, he believed in, yes, 6 days a week training. A moderate amount of sets, too. As he got older, he did less. But he still was doing less as far as the weight goes. He still was doing a pretty high number of sets of exercises. So he was a 20-set guy. On some body parts, 25 sets, some 18, 16. But you all know who have seen him in the gym. You know that he trained with a lot of work. He did a lot of work in the gym. And that's the way he grew up training, and that's the way he continued to train right up until the end. So, a lot of sets, 6 days a week, clean diet, cardio work outside of that, unnecessary, because he believed that the training and the diet took care of most of it. If going on a walk is one thing, of course, but as far as going out there and specifically doing a lot of cardio, he wasn't a big cardio guy. He would do some occasionally, but not much in the grand scheme of things, I should say. Overall, what else? So, he believed in TRT, testosterone replacement. If needed. Again, none of these things that I'm saying he didn't already say on his channel. And he had some really great sponsors along the way as well for his show. You can check out some of his shows and you'll see he mentions them every single show. What else? He had some great relationships with people. The bodybuilding part I just mentioned. All the bodybuilding, that's the way he let me back it up. He did quite a bit of work, a lot of free weight work. As he got older, more machine work. That was his belief. He used a lot of machines as he got older. Not so much the free weights anymore, but machines. He just did things that basically did not cause pain for him, that he could still get a great workout in. Let's say this, wrestling is real, okay? For those of you who think that the wrestling on TV is fake, it's real. Well, let's just say it's dangerous. There's a lot of work involved, And it could get very dangerous. They do break bones. They do injure body parts. They do tear muscles. They do injure their spine. Okay, they do take weird falls and accidental hits. And some hits are meant to be done and they get injured. So as far as wrestling goes, you know, that was real as well. What else? He believed in brushing your teeth and flossing every day. Hey, not telling any stories here. But look, as far as all of the great sayings that he had, you can go to his channel, and that's Ric Drasin, R-I-C, and then the word Drayson, D-R-A-S-I-N, and you can go ahead and check out his channel, and you can see Rick's Corner, all the episodes that he had. I think there's something like 1,500 episodes at this point on his channel. You can go back and check them all out and all the great guests that he had and listen to some of those sayings that he had along the way, because there were so many that, you know, I'm blanking right now. To be honest, you know, I'm embarrassed to say I'm blanking on all of the great sayings that he had. But you'll enjoy it when you do go there and check out some of his gear, some of his t-shirts and stuff. See if you can get a hold of those things, because they're about to become collector's items. Go and pick yourself up a good Gold's Gym t-shirt with the Gold's Gym guy, Baldy. That would be smart as well. What else? I think that's about it. Rick, I'll miss him very much. That's the truth. I'll miss him very, very much. And I'll miss doing his show. And hopefully I can carry on right here at Mr. America Heart with a little bit of that same spirit that he had on his show, with a little bit of the old school golden era touch to some of the training things that we do and talk about, and diet along the way. You can definitely tell over the years how Rick has influenced some of my diet, and I'll be sharing a little bit more on how he's influenced some of my training as well along the way. But other than that, that's it for now. So go visit his channel. Once again, down below you'll find a link for it in the video description to this video. Off to my left, you're going to see a circle pop up before we go here, and that circle is going to be, yes, that's it right there, the subscription button for my channel. If you're liking the videos that I do, just tap that button right there and you will be notified when new videos pop up. Off to your right, all the way down below, right down there. See that thumbs up button? Will you tap that, please? The thumbs up button. It's great for the algorithm with YouTube. Helps the channel out a lot. That's it for today. From my heart to you, God bless you and rest in power. Rick, look forward to seeing him again. Thank you very much. John Hart. Bye.